I never imagined I'd be sitting on my front lawn, crying my eyes out at 26. 3 years with Ryan, 3 beautiful years that felt like they were building up to something amazing. And now here I am, completely shattered. You know how people say 3 years isn't that long? Maybe it isn't, but when you've found someone who feels like your other half, time becomes meaningless. I should probably mention that I'm pregnant. 2 months along. No one knows yet, not even Ryan. I'd been planning to surprise him on his birthday next month. Funny how life has its own plans. Everything was perfect until 2 weeks ago. We'd been at my friend Sarah's place, watching old videos she was compiling for another friend's 30th birthday party. That's when I first noticed something was off with Ryan. He became distant, but I chalked it up to work stress. He's an engineer, and his boss had been breathing down his neck about some project. The intimacy stopped too, but that wasn't unusual when he was stressed. I didn't worry much about it. We'd been through stressed periods before. When I planned to visit my sister this weekend, he was supposed to come along. Instead, he said he needed to stay back to work on his project. It made sense. He'd been talking about this deadline for weeks. I came home today, right when I said I would. Our apartment door was unlocked, which was unusual but not alarming. Then I saw the kitchen, remnants of what was clearly a romantic dinner. Wine glasses, candles, the works. My heart started racing as I walked toward our bedroom. The hallway told its own story, shoes hastily kicked off, clothes scattered like breadcrumbs leading to our room. Our bedroom, our shared space, our sanctuary, looked like a hurricane had hit it. The sheets were a mess, and there was lingerie on the floor that wasn't mine. But what really got me was the jewelry left behind. I recognized it immediately. It belonged to Megan, someone I'd been insecure about when Ryan and I first started dating. He'd always assured me they were just friends. I tried calling him. No answer. Texts? Blocked. Blocked. Just like that, 3 years of trust and love vanished into thin air. The worst part? He knew exactly when I'd be home. He knew I'd see everything. And he didn't even bother to clean up. Did he want me to find out this way? Was this his way of ending things? Now I'm sitting here, on our front lawn, because I can't bear to be inside that apartment anymore. My mind is racing with a million questions. What am I going to do about the baby? How can I possibly co-parent with someone who could betray me like this? What will happen to all our mutual friends? Will I have to give up my friendship with his sister Jenny, who became like my own sister during her battle with breast cancer? I haven't called anyone yet, not my parents, not my best friend, not even my therapist. The humiliation is too fresh, too raw. Instead, I'm just sitting here watching the sunset, wondering how my perfect life crumbled so quickly. 3 years of memories, of inside jokes, of shared dreams, all tainted now by lingerie that isn't mine and jewelry from someone I used to worry about. The worst part is, I still love him. Even now, sitting here with mascara running down my face, I love him. And that makes me feel even more pathetic. How do you stop loving someone just because they stopped loving you? How do you unravel 3 years of your life in a single afternoon? My phone keeps buzzing, probably Sarah or my sister wondering why I'm not responding to their messages. But I can't talk to them yet. I can't make this real by saying it out loud. For now, I just need to sit here and figure out how to breathe normally again. How to exist in a world where the future I planned has suddenly vanished. The sun's almost gone now, and I know I need to move. I need to call someone, go somewhere, do something. But right now, all I can do is sit here and wonder, what changed? When did I stop being enough? And most importantly, what am I going to do next? Eventually, I called my therapist and my best friend, Emma. Emma insisted I stay with her, at least for a few days until I could figure out my next steps. I took photos of everything in the apartment, just like Emma suggested. She said I might need them later. Smart girl, that one. Then came the hard part, calling Jenny, Ryan's sister. We'd been through so much together. I'd spent countless hours in the hospital with her during her breast cancer treatment. We'd even all dyed our hair pink in solidarity before her surgery. But the Jenny who answered my call wasn't the woman I knew. Wow, you really haven't figured out why he did this to you at all, have you? She spat through the phone. Her voice dripped with venom I didn't even know she possessed. Before she could hang up, I blurted out that I was pregnant. The silence that followed was deafening. I even offered to pee on a stick in front of her if she didn't believe me. That's when her tone changed, just slightly. She said she'd get Ryan to meet me at the house to talk, but I'd have to tell him about the baby myself. The next few days were a blur. I met with a lawyer, started making plans to fly to my parents' place, and tried to keep myself together. Emma promised to wait outside in her car while I met with Ryan. I needed that safety net, knowing someone was there for me. When I walked into our home, well, I guess it wasn't really our home anymore. Ryan was already there. But the man standing in our living room wasn't the person I'd loved for 3 years. His face was hard, his eyes cold. Before I could even speak, he started yelling, telling me to drop the victim act, or he'd tell everyone the truth about me. I was confused, beyond confused. What truth? What was he talking about? That's when the whole story came tumbling out. Remember those videos at Sarah's place? There was one from mid-2019 before Ryan and I got together. In it, my hair was bright red, not my natural auburn, but fire engine red from some temporary hair wax. The video showed me kissing an old friend outside a bar during a night of bar hopping. Last summer, Ryan and I had dyed our hair the same shade of red, and he thought that meant I'd cheated on him with that old friend. You see, when Ryan and I first got together, my hair had been virgin, never dyed. The first time I dyed it was when I went pink for Jenny's surgery. After that, we started doing matching colors as a couple thing, so in his mind, seeing me with red hair in that old video meant I must have dyed it while we were together, must have been cheating. I tried to explain, tried to tell him he was wrong, that the video was from before us, that it was just temporary hair wax, but he wouldn't listen. He kept screaming about how he'd slept with Megan to hurt me like I'd hurt him. And then, in the middle of all this screaming and crying and explaining, the cramping started. At first, Ryan thought I was faking it until he saw the blood. That's when everything changed. Emma rushed in from the car, told him about the pregnancy as I doubled over in pain. The ambulance came quickly, but it wasn't quick enough. I lost the baby. Our argument about hair dye cost me my child. A misunderstanding about temporary hair wax destroyed everything we'd built together. It would be funny if it wasn't so devastating. Sarah came to the hospital later with proof, timestamps, more videos, everything to show that night was long before Ryan and I met. She showed us both, and I finally remembered that night clearly. It was just a silly night out with friends, using temporary hair color, having fun. Nothing more. The look on Ryan's face when he realized what he'd done, what he'd destroyed over a misunderstanding, I'll never forget it. He broke down completely, apologizing over and over. But sometimes sorry isn't enough. Sometimes things break in ways that can't be fixed. And then, as if losing my baby and my relationship wasn't enough, Ryan's mother decided to make things worse. She posted on Facebook about my cheating, my baby trapping scheme. The calls started pouring in. Family members, friends, people I barely knew, all calling me horrible names, telling me I deserved to lose my baby. The truth came out eventually, but by then, the damage was done. The things Ryan's mother wrote about me, not just about the supposed cheating, but about my looks, my personality, my struggles with anxiety and depression, they cut deep. These were people I'd considered family, people I'd loved and trusted, and they turned on me so quickly, so viciously. Ryan wanted to make a post explaining everything, clearing my name. His family tried to apologize. But how do you come back from something like this? How do you forgive people who celebrated your miscarriage? Who turned their backs on you without even asking for your side of the story? My parents flew in and got an Airbnb nearby. They wanted to support me, to help me face everything head on. But facing it meant acknowledging it all. The loss of my baby, my relationship, my future, my extended family, all because of a misunderstanding about hair dye. It felt impossible. Some days it still does. The weeks that followed were the hardest of my life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, could barely function. Every notification on my phone sent my heart racing. Was it another person calling to tell me what a terrible person I was? Even after Ryan made the Facebook post explaining everything, the damage was done. Some people called to apologize, but their words felt hollow. Ryan and I had one final talk. A long one. The kind where you lay everything bare and let all the hurt spill out. He was genuinely sorry. I could see it in his eyes. hear it in his voice. The way he broke down when talking about the baby, about how his jealousy and insecurity had destroyed something beautiful. I knew he meant every word of his apology. But sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes trust, once broken, can't be pieced back together. How could I ever look at our bedroom again without seeing Megan's lingerie on the floor? How could I trust his judgment when he jumped to such extreme conclusions over something so simple? How could I be with someone whose first instinct was to hurt me as deeply as possible? I sold the engagement ring. It was beautiful, a vintage piece we'd picked out together, but now it just felt heavy with broken promises. The money from the ring bought me a plane ticket, a one-way ticket to start over. You see, my parents moved abroad after I finished high school. It's this beautiful country where we used to spend every summer when I was growing up. I have friends there, real friends who've been calling me almost daily since everything happened. 3 of them even offered to be my roommates, but I think I'll stay with my parents for a while. I need that comfort, that unconditional love that only parents can provide. I haven't forgiven Ryan's mother. I don't think I ever will. The things she wrote about me, not just the cheating accusations, but the deeply personal attacks about my mental health, my appearance, my personality, those words can't be unwritten. And the people who celebrated my miscarriage, who told me I deserved to lose my baby, they're dead to me. It's strange how tragedy shows you who people really are. Some of our mutual friends have tried to stay neutral, to maintain relationships with both of us. I've let them go too. Not out of spite, but because I need a clean break. I need to start fresh, somewhere where people don't look at me with pity or judgment, where they don't know me as the girl whose fiancé cheated because of hair dye. The hardest part wasn't packing up our shared apartment or returning the wedding gifts we'd already received. It wasn't even saying goodbye to the life we'd planned together. The hardest part was accepting that sometimes good people make terrible mistakes, and those mistakes can have devastating consequences. I'm not healed, not even close. Some days, I still wake up and instinctively reach for Ryan's side of the bed. Some mornings, I still forget for a split second that I'm not pregnant anymore. But I'm moving forward, one step at a time, one day at a time. Tomorrow, I'll board a plane and leave this chapter of my life behind. I'll start over in a place where the sun shines differently, where the air smells new, where no one knows my story unless I choose to tell it. I'm not running away. I'm running toward something new, toward healing, toward hope. They say everything happens for a reason. I'm not sure I believe that anymore. Sometimes things just happen, and we have to find our own reasons to keep going. My reason right now is simple. I owe it to myself to find out who I am without the weight of this tragedy defining me. So here I am, 26 years old, starting over. It's not the life I planned, but maybe that's okay. Maybe sometimes the best chapters of our lives are the ones we never saw coming. I don't know what's waiting for me across the ocean, but for the first time since that awful day, I'm actually curious to find out. Is it scary? Absolutely. But staying here, drowning in memories and misunderstandings would be scarier. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit that something is over and walk away. So that's what I'm doing, walking away, starting over, breathing again, and maybe, just maybe, that's enough for now.